Hello and welcome to See People. I'm Michelle, your host, and today's guest is Ellen. Ellen is a great friend and one of my former design managers. I proudly like to say and selfishly like to say that is one of the best design managers I've ever had. Point blank, no lie, no cap, whatever the youth say these days. I will let her introduce herself some more. So welcome, Ellen.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And thank you. I think the kids call it being glazed, for glazing me a little bit there, like complimenting me. I don't know, maybe not. I could be wrong. But yes, Michelle and I go back many, many years, and we were peers before as well. So we've had a lot of fun, like just being on a team together and learning what it's like to be designers with each other, and then manager and designer. That was like a situation that I think could have been really awkward, and I really appreciate the grace that you showed me, and it was just a joy having you on the team. So I live in Des Moines, Iowa. And I've lived here most of my life. So Michelle and I know each other because we worked at a company where we could work remotely, which was a beautiful thing. So yeah, I've been here in the middle of the United States for most of my life. I did spend about 6 years in New York, both the state and New York City. I lived in North Carolina when I was a kid, and then I also lived in Michigan shortly after I graduated from college. I was in Ann Arbor for about 5 years, but came back to Des Moines. I talk about it. I'm like, oh, we just moved back to Des Moines, but it was actually 10 years ago that we moved back. So, been a little while now. Yeah.
Amazing. And you've done so much. I mean, not just in the design realm. I mean, you led a team. You've been part of, a great design cultures that I've been able to experience. How about, any kind of like personal achievements and accomplishments just to, celebrate those things? What have been a couple of those?
Yes. Yeah. So in addition to what I've been able to achieve in my career in design and in design leadership, I also have a pretty robust life kind of outside my corporate job. So over, I don't know, 12 years or so, I've accrued a number of post-nominals. The first was becoming a registered yoga teacher. So I have my 500-hour certification through the Yoga Alliance. I also, in the last 2.5 years or so, got my prenatal yoga teacher certification, and I've also been a certified personal trainer for about 1.5 years now. So yes, at the end of my name now, I often will say RYT 500 RPYT CPT. I don't actually say it. But yeah, and then, I mean, beyond that, like, just really a very proud spouse, very proud mom. My son is 6.5. And I've got 4 spirited pets, I'll say. I'm actually petting one right now. If you're watching and wondering what I'm doing with my arm, I'm petting our very needy Bernie Doodle, who often when I get on like virtual calls, I think maybe she's worried about me because it seems like I'm just talking to nobody. So she comes over and requests that I pet her.
Yes, we need them as much as they need us.
Yes, truly. Well, she needs me a lot, so no.
Yeah, we like to think it's a reciprocal relationship.
It is. Absolutely, it is. Yes.
Yeah. And you're a big reader, it looks like, or sounds like.
I am. Yes, this is something that happened during the pandemic. I got back into reading. I think I got super burned out, honestly, from school. So yes, I read a lot and have been reading a lot over the past 5-6 years or so. I usually get through about 3 books a month. I just finished Maggie O'Farrell's new book called Land. She wrote Hamnet, which was then turned into the movie that, won a bunch of Oscars. She's an incredible writer. And I didn't want it to end. It was so good. But yeah, very big into fiction. Occasionally there's I've read some good nonfiction this year too, but usually I just love a sweeping novel. And yeah. So if anyone has good book recommendations, I'm all ears. I'm on Storygraph too, which I highly recommend for anyone who likes to kind of keep track of what they're reading.
Ooh, that's a new one for me. I'll definitely have to check that out. But Hamnet, I could talk for a whole episode about Hamnet. Just Chloe Zhao's adaptation just devastated me.
Yeah. I actually, I have been reluctant to see the film because I have such a picture in my head from reading the book. But the book, to hear you describe it as devastating, I'm like, okay, I could probably see that, because that's very much how the book is as well. You're just sort of overwhelmed by the emotion in a really beautiful and human way. It doesn't feel melodramatic. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I would highly recommend that. Amazing. We'll jump right into the topics of the day with our opening question being the same one I ask of all guests is, what is your first memory of the ocean?
My first memory of the ocean is actually a memory of not the water, but the other part of the ocean, which is sand. I was probably about 5, and this would have been in the Carolinas. I can't remember exactly the location, but it was when my family was living in North Carolina. And I remember walking up the steps outside wherever it was that we were staying and getting ready to kind of take off my swim stuff to go take a shower, and the amount of sand that had gotten lodged between the swimsuit liner and the swimsuit itself. I wasn't upset about it. It didn't bother me. I was actually just truly impressed. I remember just being wow, that's really something. And just kind of being fascinated by how it had happened, and I had no idea it was happening. When I was in the ocean and just playing, and so getting back and realizing it was all there was, I just remember feeling really kind of astonished by that. And I think another one that really made an impression on me was going down to where the sand meets the shore, and looking down at my feet and having the waves wash up and then ebb back into the ocean, and watching my feet the whole time, and just that feeling of disorientation, right? Of you're standing still, but it feels like you're moving because the water is moving. And that that's a sensation that I still love to this day, as just sort of being, I don't know, just there's something a little bit magical about it, I think.
That's incredible. As you were describing that, I could feel it.
Right? Me
living
too.
by the ocean, I go to the beach, take off my shoes every once in a while, and then you just feel that your body sinking as the waves are carrying the sand, out and then back and out, and then you see the sand covering your toes slowly, and you're sinking deeper and deeper, and then maybe you find a sand crab, and then it's oh my goodness, what is happening in there?
Yes. Yeah, the realization of like, oh wow, there are things under here, aren't there? Like it's very. I can remember like seeing sandpipers too, and wondering like, what are they doing? As a kid, like they're coming up on the shore, and then still love watching them run up and then run away when the water gets too close, and realizing that they were digging for food. I was like, wait a second. And so I've spent, hours of my life just scooping out sand, finding those little morsels that they like to eat.
Yes.
So
tiny
good.
clams.
Those tiny clams. Yes. Yep.
And then another thing that made me think of your sand in your swimsuit story is sand investigation, which is really funny. It's an activity that I host at the Cal Academy. It's one of the engagements in the Naturalist Center where we have microscopes and kids are looking at sand. And we have different sand samples from beaches all along the California coast to demonstrate the hardness and softness of different rock types, because sand is just rock that's been broken down.
Right.
And people
Yes.
don't realize that. And or corals that have been, nibbled by parrotfish and then expelled.
Yes. Yes.
Fun facts. So what was, swimming around in your suit is just lots of different types of rocks that have been broken down by the waves, by animals, by time. So
that's so good. Yes. I love it. I love thinking about it. My son is really into this show. It's not new, but it's new to us. It's called Storybots. And there's a song in there about sand and like how it's created. And I think there's something that they say in the song that's like, there are more grains of sand than there are stars in the universe or something like that. And that really got to me for some reason. I was like, we can't possibly fathom the immensity of so many things that we just kind of take for granted, right? Beneath us, like grains of sand. So
yeah. The scale, it puts things into perspective.
It really does. Yes. Shout out Storybots.
Storybots. All right. All the parents out there.
That's right.
Check out the sand song from Storybots. Speaking of new perspectives or different perspectives, you had just gotten NAUI SCUBA certified, which is so exciting.
Yes.
I would love to learn more about how you decided to get certified, why now, and
well, I want to say first, I think you were like maybe the first person I told after my husband, because I have gotten to hear so many and see so many cool things from your own scuba adventures. But I think so the public school system here in Des Moines offers some really fantastic continuing education courses, and they really span the gamut. And one of the things that they were offering this past winter that they've offered before was scuba diving. And I have been curious to learn about scuba diving for a long time. Like I would almost consider it kind of a bucket list thing, because I've always been just in love with the water. I love to swim. I love to just be near bodies of water. The ocean holds a very special place in my heart. My family, I grew up vacationing in the Outer Banks in North Carolina. And I just have so many wonderful memories of that and other trips I've taken to the ocean elsewhere in the world over the course of my life so far. And I mean, maybe I was reflecting on this as we were, leading up to recording. And I was like, I think also I was just really obsessed with The Little Mermaid when I was a girl. Yes. Just like deeply, deeply wanted to be Ariel, and like didn't really understand her desire to want to live on the land so much. I was like, I don't know. There are a lot of cool things going on under the water there. You just get to swim around all day. So I think there's like very much uh, a Disney princess vibe to my desire to learn how to scuba dive. I think the why now is a great question. I think in general, as I've like become a parent and as I watch my son grow up, I find in myself a curiosity about the world, like through his eyes that like has infused itself into me. Like when you see a child see something for the first time, it really like kind of lights a fire in you, or at least it did with me. And so knowing that I wanted to do scuba for so long, I got to a point where I was like, well, why would I? There's an offer in town. I can afford it. And it was also offered in February and March, which in Des Moines is like a really bleak time of year. It's so cold and gray, and you think spring is coming soon, but it really isn't yet. And so I just thought, like, what a great way to spend my time, to learn something new, to be in the water, and make the weeks go by maybe a little faster. So, yeah.
Yeah. So much of what you just said, like, seeing through kind of fresh eyes through your son, and then finding, I guess, opportunities to try something new and take on that
Mm-hmm.
like kind of beginner's mind
Yeah.
is something that I think, I don't know, sometimes it gets lost as we are adulting so hard. Playing
Yes.
our like corporate personas and being like, here is the presentation to these stakeholders.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I love how you're, just charting a new path for yourself in maybe an unexpected place, like you were saying, right? In
Mm-hmm.
Iowa, taking
Mm-hmm.
scuba diving classes.
Yep.
Um, and you had also mentioned to me prior to this call that you were one of the few people who showed up by themselves. And we know that scuba, typically, whenever you go out into the ocean, you have a buddy. And I
That's right.
get that. I got certified with my brother. I want you to like expand on like how you felt about that and what sort of experience that was like.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't, until I walked in the first night and saw everyone else paired up, it did not cross my mind that I should have done it with someone else. I actually didn't really want to do it with anybody else. I kind of wanted to do it just for me. And so, when you're learning to scuba dive, obviously you have to be in swim stuff. And for the first couple sessions in particular, the scuba place didn't have wetsuits. So they did eventually, and that was fine. But I actually didn't end up even using them. So you're an individual person, and you're like in a swimsuit, and there are just a bunch of people in pairs. I think there were maybe 10 of us or so. And the only other people who were there as individuals were two men. So yeah, at first I was feeling a little bit like a little nervous, a bit reluctant, sort of how is this going to go? But it wasn't enough to keep me from wanting to like go all in on it. Um, I think it might have actually served me better that I went and did it by myself, because it meant I paid really close attention to what I was learning. And having to like buddy up with someone I didn't know in particular really meant that I had to know what I was doing. Like I couldn't fake it, or I couldn't explain, like I could to my husband or someone who really knows me, like, oh yeah, I messed that up, but like, you trust me, I got it. No, I had to pay pretty close attention, and I wanted to. I think if I'd had someone there who I knew, I might not have taken it um, quite so seriously. So it was definitely vulnerable, but ultimately, I think it was. I don't know that I would have done it any differently. I really liked being just there for myself.
That's really empowering, and I love that reframe. Just knowing how much information there is
Oh my
to
gosh.
remember,
Yes.
and um, and I get it. Like having someone who you know coming in, it might be that you fall back into like the I don't know dependencies and or like
Mm-hmm,
whatever
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
existing dynamic that you have. And then, yeah, you don't know what will happen when you do go out into the, open ocean and suddenly you fall into those same habits. And maybe one
Yes.
person remembers something and the other person was expected to remember something and maybe
Yes.
they didn't.
Right.
So I totally get it. And I think that definitely served you. And it sounds like it did.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Mhm.
interesting too. Um I was one of the only people there, I think, who wasn't taking the class because they had a trip scheduled, like to go scuba diving somewhere. And so a lot of the conversation, before and after class would be like, oh, where are you going? Like, do you have anywhere planned to go? And, spring break was coming up. So one pair was a mother and son, and like they were planning to go on a trip to go scuba diving together in the Caribbean somewhere. And another person, the person I paired up with most often, he wanted to go to Honduras and scuba dive there. And and I was just like, I have nothing planned. I just want to do this, and maybe I'll take it somewhere from here. But like just the like the practice of learning and understanding was almost enough for me uh, to at least take the class for. Like I did not have and still don't have any like solid plans to do any open water dives. I think that'll change, but I didn't go into it with any expectations that like I'm going to immediately go and dive somewhere other than
Yeah.
a pool.
And I think that is completely okay,
Yeah,
Like you'll just have it in your back pocket when the moment arises. And
that's right.
that'd be
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny thing, not quite the same, but the analogy that I thought of when you were saying that, I'm scared to say it a little bit,
No,
but
say it.
it's like signing up for like a gym membership before getting married. It's like I need to be, I don't know, toned for my wedding dress. This is problematic in many ways, so I'm sorry. But I had to say it. That was what came to mind.
Yes, that's right. For wherever your future partner is lurking, like you're ready. You're ready. And just same with me. Like whenever that happens, where I'm like, I gotta go on a trip. I'm ready. Got
Yep,
it.
yep. Got your dive card.
That's
Hey.
right. Yes. I actually still need to go pick my dive card up. It took me there was a big e-learning portion of the NAUI certification that boy, I just ignored and did finish, but only like last month. So I still need to go to the dive shop here and get my card.
It's okay. It'll be there waiting for you. You can even get a digital one. There's
Ah,
there's options.
that's awesome. That's good to know. I feel like when I go to the shop, the instructor is going to give me some flack for taking so long.
Yeah, I know. Those classes, it's a lot of forms to fill out, a lot of
Yes.
quizzes, a lot of
Yes.
calculations.
Oh, yes.
Calculating.
The dive cards really, really made my eyes wide. Like, no one told me there would be math, you know?
Yeah. Just don't want to get decompression sickness.
No,
Don't
no,
want those bubbles in your blood.
nope.
Yep. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And luckily,
Mm.
it's not like learning what to do actually is not nearly as intimidating as it looks. Like, I think when I first saw what the dive charts look like, I was like, there's no way to make sense of this. This is going to be overly complex. And then you learn it and you're like, oh, No, it's totally fine. So, yeah.
Yeah. In other movement-related things you had mentioned earlier,
Yes.
you teach yoga with
Mhm.
all the certifications and acronyms to your name now,
Mhm.
on top of being a certified personal coach. How has that part shaped who you are,
Mm.
and especially around building community, which we all desperately need right now?
Yes. Yes. Um, I think yoga's been one of the greatest unexpected gifts of my life. And not just the physical element of it, which is what drew me in, and I think obviously that's what draws a lot of people in Western culture into yoga. Um, I started to do yoga in college. I had a friend who dragged me to a class once, and I remember, and maybe you can relate to this too, with your journey with dancing, but it was the first type of movement I ever did where I felt graceful, um, and where I ever really connected with the word embodied. Um, and it surprised me in a really delightful way where I was just kind of like, I want to keep doing this. Um, and choosing to get certified was a really one of the best decisions I ever made. I was living in Ann Arbor at the time, and I went to Ann Arbor after I graduated from college. I'd never been there before. I didn't know anything about it. And I just moved there. And so finding this yoga studio where I ended up getting certified was kind of was really how I started to find my community in a new place. And my teacher is just this incredible person, very, very rooted in the philosophy of yoga. So what I actually ended up, and what I think the biggest gift that yoga has given me in my life is actually much more related to the philosophy of yoga rather than any of the physical aspects of yoga. I I am not an impressively flexible person. I can't do a lot of difficult yoga poses, nor have I ever really felt the need to. Um, it's much more about what the teachings of the Yoga Sutras or the Bhagavad Gita and other yogic texts have to teach us about the self and humility and just kind of the perspective you take on life being one where you're sort of bearing witness to yourself. Um, those things have been hugely influential in my life, and I have been able to take those learnings to every other place I've lived or taught, New York or here in Des Moines, and find community there. And I think that there's something really, really kind of radical about yoga's teachings in that it's very driven by this idea that everything we look around and see is an illusion, and our truest selves exist above and beyond the illusion of the world that we live in. It's very low ego, like non-striving, unambitious, but not to be mistaken for lazy. It's just a completely different perspective. And I think for a lot of us who are in the grind and, talking about KPIs or OKRs or whatever all day long, there's so much relief in the reminder that there's more to us than just these things, these acronyms, these roles we take on as designer, as product person, as whatever. So
Yeah, I resonate with that so much, especially like you were mentioning in any sort of movement-based art or practice. I think what's different now from when I was younger is like how I show up and like
Mm,
how kind I am to myself when I'm not doing my best, whatever that's supposed to mean.
yes. Yes.
And yeah, um, striving for perfection was something I used to do, and now it's like a constant state of unlearning that kind of mental pattern, to be more like everything's a work in progress. I think
Hmm.
as designers, that's also like an ethos. Like nothing's ever
Yes.
done. Nothing
Yes.
is ever final. We can call it final, but it is not
Right.
final.
Right. Yes. 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 Everything is just a continuation of what came before, and it can evolve into anything. Yeah, like I think that's why I've connected with design so much, because I didn't really start my career in design, but there is a lot of overlap, I think, with yogic thinking and with design thinking. It's really like try not to be constrained by your assumptions, and have a perspective that allows for curiosity and a growth mindset. I think is really what a lot of it is just like having that curiosity and um, not existing in absolutes, which I think makes a lot of people really uncomfortable. But like I love like the soup that is the gray area. Like and design's such a great place for that too. And I like to, you know, go back to what you were saying about this, like this perfectionism thing. Like I think I can deeply relate to that, of spending so much time in my youth and my young adulthood just like wanting to be the best at everything and finding a lot of relief and joy in letting that go. And it took a long time, and like in a lot of ways I'm still letting it go, but it is really nice just to show up however you can and to just practice or move for the sake of it, and like letting that just be all it needs to be is really liberating, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the best instructors would say things like, "Oh, you're wobbling? Embrace the wobble." Like
Yes.
that's just showing that you can be grateful for it. And I'm
Yes.
like, "Amazing. I will keep wobbling."
I love wobbling. That's all I'll ever do. No, I do the same thing when I teach. When I'm teaching balancing poses in a yoga class, I'll be like, if you're wobbling, that's a great sign of your brain and your body doing exactly what they need to do. And like that, whether you're picking up a single toe off of the ground, or you've got your foot behind your head or whatever, like that's balance. It, there's no like this balance is better than that balance. Like, no, it's just, you're just balancing. Like, we don't have to give you a grade. This is just what you want to do right now, in this moment.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of like imbuing either like positive, negative, or like
Yeah.
scales to things because I think that helps people make sense. But I think one of the maybe harder, but also like often needed thing is just kind of accepting it like as it is, like it is, you
Yes.
know? It could be
Yes.
raining and we can say like it's terrible. And I'm like, it's just raining.
That's right. Yes. Yes, exactly. And how it's that is another, again, like yoga philosophy thing that's been so huge for me. Yeah, is just not assigning anything moral value, and instead, what if it, again, like I've said this a few times now, but like what is it like to just step back and look as though you're like watching yourself from afar? Like observing is not judging, and that I think can be very powerful. So, and hard.
Yes.
It's hard to do that.
It's a hard mental practice to do,
Yes.
to step out of your current state and take a, 5,000-foot view.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, as we are nearing the end of our conversation, which I can feel like it can go on forever, but
I know.
I would love to have you on for another episode, perhaps in the future, to see
Great.
how the journey goes with the diving. Maybe you'll have gone on a trip, maybe you will have not, and that'll be okay still.
That's right.
Yeah, totally good. The closing question I like to ask all my guests is, with everything you know now, which is so much, but also we are all always learning, beginner's mindset, as I mentioned. What is one thing you would tell your younger self and the audience?
It's really hard to just pick one thing. And we've touched on it a little too. I think it's kind of part of the theme of our conversation is put a lot of pressure on myself when I was younger. I think even from a very young age, from childhood, I expected a lot of achievement from myself. And I had like maybe what someone could refer to as a midlife moment recently, where I kind of looked around at my job, which is, like there's so many things that I'm grateful for about my job, but I did have this moment where I was kind of like, wait, is this it? Like the ambition, the perfectionism, all of these things, they're not necessarily behind me now, but like I'm established in my career, I have a family, like a lot of those big life milestones are behind me. And I think I just had this moment of like, well, wait, hang on. Is that all of the work that I've done has gotten me here? Like this, I thought there would maybe be like a bigger, like, I don't know, exciting surprise or like something slightly different from where
like
I am now.
Like the confetti falling down.
Yes, exactly. Like you did it. You have adulted. And I think it just made me reassess, like, what is that ambition and that drive worth? And is that, like, I don't want to discount those things. I think those can be important. But I think what it did for me was help me realize, like, I want to make time for some other things, like learning how to scuba dive. And so all of that to say, well, it's a lot of preamble, but all of that to say, like, to my younger self, to anyone listening, do things that are fun for the sake of them being fun. And like, whether or not you're good at them is not actually the reason to do them. It's to do them because they are fun and because there's so much joy to be found in just doing something because it's fun. Yeah.
Yes. The joy of doing fun things and not to be, achieving the KPI, the next
right, yes.
rung in the ladder of fun. There is no winner in fun.
Nope, that's right. Nobody, or everyone wins in fun. Either, yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
Better phrasing.
Yes. Now I will not look back on my life and remember it in KPIs. I will look back on my life and be like, man, I'm really glad that I did that scuba diving class in the dead of winter in a landlocked state, or those are the things that will matter. So
yeah, and that is so unique to you, and that's perfect.
Yes,
in itself. Yes. Thank you so much, Ellen. Are there any events, things you want to plug? I know you mentioned a book earlier called Land.
Oh, yes.
That kids sand song. Anything else?
Yes. So just for a verbal show notes here. Yes. So if you haven't watched Storybots on Netflix, I think it's delightful. And there's a lot of kids' content that is not delightful for adults. Storybots is one of those. So have a blast. It's okay if you don't have kids, you can still watch kids shows. Land by Maggie O'Farrell is so great. If you've not read her before, read Hamnet. She's got at least another one of hers that I've read. I can't think of the title. My favorite book is called Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. It's the only book I have voluntarily chosen to read more than once. I've read it 3 times. I think it might become a thing that I read every year. It's wonderful. And there's a lot of ocean in it too. Let's see. If you're in the Des Moines area, and if you're not in the Des Moines area, come visit. It's pretty fun. I am teaching yoga at a studio, yoga and weightlifting, like powerlifting, at a studio called Rooted Fitness Des Moines. And it's the most delightful community in the world. It's an anti-diet studio, which means that no one's ever going to be talking about changing yourself or making yourself smaller. It's all about finding joy in movement. And I also am very excited to say that I have found a new place to teach yoga as well in Des Moines. It's called Black Box Movement Studio. And I'll be teaching there on Monday evenings. So yeah, I am just very grateful that you asked me to join, Michelle, and to sit down and chat with you. I mean, I always love talking with you. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellen, for sharing and just being you.
No.
So check out her studio classes, whatever, if you're ever in Des Moines, be inspired by her scuba journey. And yes, let's see people as sea people.
That's right. I love it.
Sea People is a production by Seafoam Studio. I'm Michelle, your host. This is a space to be expansive and explore the underwater world of stories of the sea and the people who steward it. Sea People is available on wherever you find your podcasts. If you would like to leave a rating and review, please do. There will be a form in the show notes to give feedback, because feedback is a gift. Episodes will be released bi-weekly, so stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for listening.